Hello, everybody, and welcome to Betweenplays Stock Market Strategies. All right, everyone. So today we have Killian Charles, president of Brunswick Exploration. This is going to be a great interview. I think that all of you out there excited about all these lithium plays and stuff like that. This is, in my opinion, this is going to be a really big one, and super excited to have you. How are you doing today, Killian?
Doing pretty well. Thank you for having me on.
And, I have to start by saying that, well, we've had John Kaiser on here from Kaiser Watch, KaiserResearch.com. And, he put you as one of his 3 top picks. And when I heard that, I was super excited. I was like, oh, I got to get in touch with Killian. And, it just makes me, wonder, John is talking about your company as a potential, this is one of his 3 top picks. I mean, do you have anything to say about that, on John, about this? Like, so super exciting.
It is actually quite exciting. We're quite happy to have been selected by John. I think, let's be honest, there's a lot of junior companies out there. So, to get a little bit of recognition, to get, his name brand associated to us, it's a good feeling. And I think it speaks to as well his hard work and doing a lot of research and digging deep into various companies that have a potential. So hopefully we'll do him proud. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So for all the viewers out there, you all know, head on over to KaiserResearch.com and you'll understand what we're talking about. All right, so on that front, Killian, we had a little bit of a conversation beforehand, get to know each other and stuff like that, and that's exactly what I do for all the viewers out there. So is it possible just to give us a little bit of background on yourself, your experiences in life and in the industries, and also maybe a little bit on your team, because I got to looking into your team a little bit, and quite exciting. So I figured, let's give a chance for everybody out there to know you. And if you could talk a little bit about your team and their experiences, please.
Yeah. So Brunswick Exploration, at the end of the day, and for any junior mining company, what matters more than anything else is management team. They're the team and they're the people that you need to trust and that are going to do a good job with shareholder money, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so, when it comes to the team that we've built inside Brunswick Exploration, we're quite happy. I come from, I studied geology in university. I worked for many years as a mining analyst for a number of boutique firms here in Montreal. Spent a good amount of time traveling all over the world, looking at a multitude of different projects, what makes them tick, what makes them work, what makes them valuable, which projects make a lot of sense. And so, with that insight, I actually found a project I liked quite a lot. It was Komet Gold, and got to know the management team there very well. And I guess now going back, 7 years now, I was like, let's work together. You have a project here in Quebec. They were based out of Vancouver. So I joined the Komet Gold guys as they advanced the Triangle deposit near Val d'Or. It's a wonderful discovery, to imagine that you can find a multi-million ounce deposit, less than 10 kilometers from Val d'Or, where we mined 50 million ounces of gold over generations.
Crazy.
That's saying something. And that asset advanced real fast. We was eventually sold for $440 million to Eldorado. And I'm pretty sure Eldorado would call it their star asset in their portfolio these days. It just keeps on giving more gold to them.
Wow.
I then joined what we like to joke here in Quebec as the Osisko Empire.
Yes, Osisko, yes.
Which built the largest gold mine in Canada at its time. Canadian Malartic produces well in excess of 500,000 ounces a year. So, it's a world-class deposit by any stretch of the imagination. And, they've built a strong brand, strong team here in Quebec. In-house engineers, in-house metallurgists. So if I had any question in terms of pit design or metallurgy or any tricky areas that can trip up a lot of other teams, I have sort of an in-house team that I can rely on. And sort of gives us a lot of depth from that perspective. And so, part of that team we also have inherited from there is Mr. Robert Wares, who is CEO and chairman. And he also carries a very, very interesting CV. He's been involved in a number of discoveries. He's part of the team that found Canadian Malartic. He gets to put 13 million ounces next to his name. And actually, Nico Eagle and Yamana, now that they own this asset, have found another, 10 million ounces in the Odyssey zone. So that's, it's quite the achievement when you can say you pointed to a discovery that led to 20 million ounces here in Quebec. But he didn't stop there. He's been involved with Arizona Mining, with Rosemont cell to Hudbay. So, he's an exploration geologist at heart, and this is an exploration company. So really, we're able to pull from our diverse backgrounds, capital markets on my side, and on his side, exploration, and sort of just build a very interesting company in the lithium space, the likes that you don't really see many of. But at the end of the day, where it all starts from, the management team. And, that for your viewers and listeners, that's what we want to impart them, that, we spend a lot of time in trying to act as above board as possible and hold ourselves to a higher standard as much as possible.
Oh, absolutely. When I was doing the research on your team, and I just was going, wow, this is a stellar team. And of course, naturally, just hearing you talking about them and all these discoveries and stuff like that, people definitely should be paying attention to that. It's quite some achievements. And, now we're into Brunswick Exploration. And of course, you guys go and pick one of the hottest, trending minerals around, lithium. Because I see there's a lot of experience there that you all have. Why lithium? Is there a reason why you guys decided to get to the lithium? I mean, is there something that you all know about that we should know about here, especially given all your backgrounds?
Well, you know what? Lithium is at an interesting point in its life. It saw sporadic exploration waves, say, in the early 2000s, around 2010, but none of those waves really caught on. And the focus was on existing assets. There was not a lot of work to find something new. That's starting to change, because when I look at a global perspective, the sheer amount of investment happening, and I guess I'll use an oil terminology here, upstream, downstream. So downstream is where you're transforming your element of interest. So in the case of lithium, breaking it into lithium carbonate or lithium hydroxide, and ultimately into lithium battery. While there's billions, hundreds of billions of dollars being spent in terms of that, downstream side of the industry. But in terms of upstream, in terms of, feeding all of that industry, it's non-existent. Best example is here in Quebec. There was an announcement of BASF, a large German chemical conglomerate, announcing they'll build a battery plant or a lithium chemical plant in the province. And I'm like, fantastic, incredible, taking advantage of, our cheap power cost over here. Except there's no lithium mine in the province, which is a bit of a question mark. And you look at all of these investments, it's starting to be based on theoretical supply of lithium. We simply don't have enough lithium resources defined in the world. We have potential, but they're not defined yet. So just this whole side of the industry that's completely missing from the lithium market. And that's what makes it so exciting. And that's why we decided to jump, headfirst into that business, because people are exploring. Don't get me wrong. People are doing good work out there, but systematic exploration, looking for something new in, tier 1 jurisdictions like Canada, there's not a lot of companies doing that right now. And we felt that our expertise could be brought to bear for, those types of discoveries, that type of exploration work. So we're quite excited to be working in there. I'm sure, some of your viewers will start looking up the press release we've been releasing. We've amassed quite the portfolio. And the reason we've been able to amass quite the portfolio is because, again, not many companies are working here. And that's where we feel we can be value added to the industry and value added to a lot of our investors.
Yeah, because I noticed in the Atlantic region, you guys have been picking up over there, and you've been picking up in Quebec. Is there anything that you can say about, why did you decide to go out into those specific areas of the Atlantic region and into the specific areas of Quebec? Because I watched it, and I mean, there's a lot of interested parties for sure, because we got private placements coming in now, millions of dollars and stuff like that. So there must have been some kind of strategy into why you guys went and picked up all of this in the Atlantic regions, Maritimes, and in Quebec.
You know what? It's a fantastic question. And I always want to add the word yet or for now. Yes, we're in Quebec. Yes, we're in Atlantic Canada for now. The strategy, and it keeps coming back to management team and, building an exploration strategy. What we've designed or built inside Brunswick allows us to advance in many areas that haven't seen enough work. So we initially focused on Quebec and initially focused on Atlantic Canada because, for lack of better words, it's our backyard. Yeah. But we're keeping an eye out. And now that we've staked up everything that we want in those areas, I have part of my team now focusing on other provinces. So, look to see the portfolio continue to expand, because we still see opportunities. We still see a lack of exploration, systematic grassroots exploration happening in other provinces in Canada and even other parts of the world. And so, for us to go back to it, Quebec, we're based in Quebec. There's known lithium deposits in the province. It's an easy place for us to go do work. In Atlantic Canada, historically, Brunswick has done a lot of exploration work there. It's easy. We know the laws down there. We understand how to work with the government. So no one was looking for lithium there. Sure, let's go ahead and change that up a little bit, because it hosts all of the correct geology to potentially have lithium deposits. Nova Scotia had a known lithium deposit around Brazil Lake, known since the 1960s. No one's gone back to wonder, hey, is there more? There's been, over the last 18 months, a new lithium discovery in Newfoundland that was sort of a gold company that worked its way back into being a lithium company to a certain extent. And no one's really focused on ascertaining the lithium potential in that province. Everyone's still squarely focused on gold. And that's the type of opportunities that we like inside Brunswick. People are not thinking big pictures, are sort of focused on other commodities, and sort of only luckily end up in the lithium space. Well, we want to think about it a bit more forethought and build a story, and build a portfolio in these provinces that can hopefully drive to some new lithium discoveries.
Okay, yeah, because so what we're saying is that basically back in the past, there was, for some odd reason, people were probably searching for something else or something like that, and then they fell on these lithium deposits, but it just seems like they just let them they just ignored it, wrote it down, ignored it, and moved on. Is there a reason why they did that back in the past? It wasn't interesting yet, or EV? Because I guess the EV revolution is bringing us all up, or something like that.
Well, look, I mentioned Brazil Lake. When was it discovered? 1960s.
Yeah.
Back then, lithium really had one, maybe two main use. It was used in ceramics. It was used in glass. Yeah. Many of your microwaves, the glass in your microwave contains lithium. Lithium is used is used in the pharmaceutical industry. So it never really had much economic interest to it. So, we'll often look at original reports from the 1950s who'll gloss over pegmatites and will mention no economic interest. because back then, yeah, there was nothing to be done with lithium. It's,
True.
think about lithium batteries really only starting in the 1990s. And that's speaks to the industry as well. It's a new industry. And again, as I mentioned at the start, it started with a few waves and a bit of interest, but now it's ingrained. And, if I look at the gold market, I have lots of grassroots companies. I have lots of junior developers. I have lots of producers. Same thing in base metal, lots of developers, lots of explorers. I don't have that in lithium. It's happening so fast. The lithium boom is happening so fast that we're seeing, and it's something we have never seen, none of us have seen, we're seeing an industry take form, under our eyes every single day, where new discoveries are being made every single day because, we haven't had the chance to be exploring that commodity truly up until the last, to be quite honest, 24 months.
Yeah.
It's extremely exciting for that. That's why we're hearing about so many different things, whether it's clay, brines, DLE, pegmat, even though pegmatites were the first one we've been mining for almost 100 years now. It's moving very, very fast, and it can be overwhelming for investors out there. And so that's why, we feel that inside Brunswick, what we offer is a breadth, of a range of assets to go test. A lot of other companies may be focused on one or two properties related to lithium. And, we say, well, actually, no, we have, dozens and dozens and dozens of properties to go test. Now, most of them won't contain lithium, but, if we make some discoveries, then it gets a little bit more interesting. Let's put it that way.
Well, that's really interesting because, going back to my interview with John, my own research, and of course, naturally not on the levels of any one of you two, because retail investors, we have what we have and we go with that. You were mentioning about hundreds of years that we've been in, mining the pegmatites, right? Is that why you guys went more towards the pegmatites versus, lithium triangle? Like, because, in 2020, the craze was the lithium triangle. That was the craze. And of course, naturally, people are still looking there. But I'm noticing a shift, like you're saying, in the last 24 months, there's a shift that pegmatites are, it's like, I guess the mineralization of it must be so high, like ppms. You must have much more once you have it. It's a higher grade. There's a lot more tonnage. What's the differences between why did you go into pegmatites? Why not go into the lithium triangle? And, maybe touch up on clay brines a little bit. Like, how come not do that? Is it jurisdictions or stuff? What is it about?
Well, you said it right there at the end. For us, there's two aspects, but jurisdiction is going to play a large role.
Okay.
You're seeing a lot of resource nationalization happening worldwide. Mexico just announced that it wants to nationalize its lithium industry. Not to say that they produce a lot of lithium, but that's the trend that you're starting to see worldwide. So for us, the lithium triangle is, there's some great companies, there's some great resources, and it's going to be and remain a very important source of lithium production globally for generations and decades to come. But, we felt more comfortable looking and exploring in Canada, areas where we don't have to concern ourselves ever with nationalization risk.
True.
So for us, that made a lot more sense. And in Canada, what are you going to have? You're going to have pegmatites. Pegmatites have been mined for, as I mentioned, about 100+ years. We understand them very well. We understand the metallurgy very well. Yes, they also happen to be higher grade, an order of magnitude higher grade than many lithium brines out there. And so we felt very comfortable around that. Lithium clays is a very, very promising area to look at, but there's no commercial production from lithium clays right now. So in terms of metallurgy, there is a high risk component associated to it. So for us, again, keep it simple, stupid. That's really as basic as it gets.
That's some McGill there. That's some McGill there. Kiss.
Look,
that's right. I agree with you, though.
You know, we understand them. We understand, you know, we've built the knowledge base internally to understand how to explore for them. So let's go ahead and make discoveries on those spots. You know, for us, that's where, again, we can be value added and we feel safe and we feel comfortable. We can eliminate, from an investor's perspective, a large risk component. They don't have to worry about the resource being nationalized or about politics in South America. Oh, is it, you know, a wave of left-wing government or is it a wave of right-wing government? They can ignore all that. You know, the law and actually, to be quite honest, in Canada, the government is incredibly supportive of the lithium industry. Yeah. In every province we go, they almost roll out the red carpet for us. You know, they want to build out those industries. They want to demonstrate that there is that potential. And it goes back a little bit towards, you know, it pains me to say this, but the Russia angle. You know, Russia is demonstrating that security and location of asset matters a lot. You know, can I point to an asset that's based in Canada is going to be worth a heck of a lot more than one that's maybe, you know, quagmired behind politics or countries that I don't want to deal with? So there's a big push in terms of ESG to ensure that, you know, the resources come from, you know, countries where we can trust that, you know, high norms will be respected.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of car companies now, you know, putting in billions into Ontario and I guess Quebec as well, and you know, Stellantis, Ford. Now you're mentioning BASF as well. Like that's you know, just pouring in money over here in order to get this all going. And now you guys with that stellar team, that's, you know, all these discoveries. And I'm seeing that there's lots of private placement coming in. So, and then John Kaiser's talking about you guys, and I'm just adding the ones plus the ones plus the ones plus the ones. I'm expecting really big things here. That's perhaps, honestly, that's, and I'm sure everybody is, but I'm going to get on to the next question over here about the pegmatites that you all have and stuff. I mean, what do you think the time frame is on your research of these pegmatites to get samplings and to evolve this into the next steps? Like, how do we find all these and how to find this information out, basically?
Yeah, excellent question. So the simplest way of thinking about Brunswick exploration is that it really operates under 3 phases. Okay. Phase 1 is really focused on target generation, if you will. So that's all the staking we've been doing. And phase 1 really for us doesn't stop. That's why I said at the start, you know, for now, keep looking for more province to be added to the portfolio. We see a lot of opportunities on that side. We generate more targets. And so that is just about building out the scope of Brunswick exploration. Phase 2 is what we're just about to launch. And now that we've closed the private placement, is filtering. All right. So now this is the critical stage where we amass, you know, 150 pegmatites. And now we, based on certain geochemical indicators, we go out in the field and start flipping through them. This one's no good. This one has potential. And so you can imagine that with 100 pegmatites, it does take a little bit of time to go through, but we are efficient. We've developed a sort of an internal guidelines to, you know, quickly or as quickly as possible sort through these pegmatites. And so this is now the phase we're entering. Phase 1 is going to continue, but now as we enter phase 2, it's going to be on a continuous process where we're going to start to eliminate out as many pegmatites that aren't of interest to us and focus on a select few that are. And then we hope to be in a position to start drilling them by year end. And that's when we enter phase 3. So phase 3 is when we then step up the exploration work. We've started to filter, and the ones that have made it through the filter now see drilling, you know, more sustained geological work around them, more sustained exploration work around them. And so we expect to enter that phase 3, hopefully by the end of the summer or into the fall here, as we, filter and retain the ones that hold a lot of potential to us.
Well, that's pretty quick, because I thought you were going to say phase 3 would probably be at the end of the year. So if phase 3 is actually, that's pretty short term nonetheless. That's very quick.
Well, okay, so end of summer, we're still talking about September into early fall, so that's still October, November. It sounds quick, but it's still a few months. But yeah, no, it's still something that we feel we can work quickly. Now, if it may take a little bit longer, best laid plans, mice and men, classic. But we are confident that we can start filtering quite rapidly, and so we've nominally kicked off in our work in New Brunswick. Quebec is starting to slowly pick up speed. Nova Scotia, we're kicking it off really this week. And Newfoundland's going to be in July. And then, now we're starting to pull across all our portfolio, all of these provinces, while still building out the pipeline. And that's the important part of Brunswick, is that, sure, we're dropping pegmatites left, right, and center. We're filtering them out. Perfect. But we're also adding more to the portfolio. We're adding to the back of it, so that we always have this continuous pipeline of targets to go and try. And that's really the exciting part for us in this, and goes back to this sector. Grassroots exploration, junior mining, is fundamentally high risk. It absolutely is a high risk industry with a heck of a lot more failures than success. That's why you want to bet on the management team. But by being able to build out our portfolio, we give ourselves and our shareholders as many chances as possible of finding a pegmatite of economic interest. If I have one, well, that's all my eggs in one basket. If I have 10, oh, well, now I'm starting to spread out that risk a little bit more. If I have, dozens to hundreds, well, not to say that they could all be barren, they could all be duds, but it's starting to be a bit more of a numbers game. Even if I bat, 100, it's still going to be good odds for me as I start to filter out hundreds of pegmatites.
Okay, so what you're saying, actually, it's basically what's off the top of my head. I mean, look, I have to bring this up because it's just too exciting. Everything that you're saying, like, I'm looking at in my head right now, what you're saying brings me to like 2 other companies. It's just reminding me, because I have a little bit of regret. I'll be honest with you, I have a little bit of regret. All right. I saw, PMET, Patriot, at, in the 30 census, and now I see where they're all now, and I could just see that stair climb. And I really regret it, not getting at that point. But what you're telling me now, and especially with, your management team and everything like that, your storyline with Frontier and PMET, I mean, they sound pretty similar. I mean, this is very exciting. Is there anything that, am I right here a little bit?
So in the context of PMET, that was a really interesting one for us, and we're extremely happy and pleased for their success. And for us, it was a little bit of an internal validation of our exploration model, because it was an area that we internally had highlighted as having extremely high potential to host a lithium-bearing pegmatite. So we were very, very happy. Unfortunate that we could pick up the asset, or that it was too late to pick up the asset. But we were very, very happy to see that, this is something new. This was an area that had been historically explored for gold, overlooked for, I want to say, decades and decades and decades, but it was a brand new discovery. And that speaks to the market. That speaks to the potential, and why we felt that this is something we want to be in. We want to be doing grassroots lithium exploration. There's a lot of potential here, because people are almost inadvertently making discoveries. Hats off to PMET, but initially they were in there looking for gold. And our model said, hey, there's going to be lithium potential here. And so we're happy to see that it's being borne out. in the context of Frontier, they knew they had a little bit of a lithium, showing historical resource, but it wasn't okay. But their main momentum is really centered around a new discovery.
Wow. Again,
something new to the market. That's the opportunity for lithium. We haven't been exploring for it, unlike gold or unlike copper for decades. We've been truly exploring for it for 24, maybe you can add up to 5 years, but it's an extremely short time frame by any way you want to look at it. And so, when we look to the success of those peer companies, and we look at the portfolio we built, we're like, well, look, we have hundreds, we just need one in there to demonstrate the same potential as either Patriot or as Frontier. And that's what gets us really excited. And again, when I look and see what the team is building, and I see the other opportunities that they're identifying, other areas that no one again is looking properly, and I know I can continue building my pipeline, I'm like, wow, geez, there's a lot of fun things that can happen here if the stars align.
Oh yeah, okay. So Canada is we know Canada is known for, Australia even looks at us for lithium and stuff like that. So oh boy, this is exciting. Your stock is like at 23 cents. It's crazy. Super excited. I'm so happy that you're here. And honestly, I'm going to be following this story very, very closely. I'm sure all our investors are going to be super excited. All the people that we have viewing this are going to be super excited about this storyline that Brunswick has. I don't know if there's anything that you want to end off telling potential investors, investors that's already, in Brunswick in closing. Is there maybe a last word?
Yeah, you know what? It's something that I think is important to know is, management has skin in the game when it comes to this company. We are aligned with shareholders. We're not looking we want to build a company that has real value to it. And, for us to exit on Brunswick, we have to ride it all the way to the end here. We're not looking for anything else. It's not a paycheck for us. It is something that we want to see succeed because, we are aligned right next to shareholders, buying right next to shareholders.
Well, if I'm correct off of this, looking when I was doing the research, you're almost at 40% inside, right?
If I look at
36,
insiders,
38, something around that area, it's pretty massive. Absolutely, 100%. And with your team, as we talked about the experiences before, private placements coming in, the whole 9 yards. And all these conferences coming up in Toronto pretty soon. I'm excited. That's all. I don't even know how to express myself. I'm excited. Once you hit one of those pegmatites and we see lithium on there's no way in hell your stock staying at 22 cents. Pegmatites is the way to go. That's just it. The spodumene in there. And Killian, I don't even know what to say. I just like this, maybe add, if it's possible in the future, if you could do any type of follow-ups to keep, all of our viewers interested and going, because, it's just like any shareholders, they always want to hear from you guys. They want to hear from you guys. I'm just the guy doing the interview, but they just want to hear everything from you. So I'm wondering, is it possible in the future?
100%.
Maybe. I love it.
We will be back. We like to talk. I enjoy having conversations here. So, it would be our pleasure to come back and speak to you again and to your audience.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And I wanted to just remind everybody out there, this is one of the top 3 picks by Mr. John Kaiser, too. Stellar management team. Let's not forget that everything that they've done, discovered, and all that kind of stuff. And huge amount of pegmatites across the Atlantic region, Quebec, and still exploring. And we got numbers that are going to coming up and stuff like that. All right. So Killian, thanks a lot. Brunswick Exploration, on behalf of Betweenplays Stock Market Strategies, I'd like to bid you a farewell, a great day, and to the next video.
Thank you.